Federal agencies are meeting the laddered continuing resolution. Republicans are considering new approach to temporary funding that would extend portions existing appropriations for different periods of time, effectively creating series funding cliffs while avoiding single deadline for all agencies that could trigger partial government shutdown. Spokesman Mike Johnson said Thursday. With current funding for entire government expiring on November 17, Johnson proposed a CR to extend funding through January 15, but that date would be delayed by federal Martin Luther King Jr. Day off. But Louisiana Republican said at the press conference that some GOP members had floated idea of cascading CR to expand funding piecemeal. I'll explain what that means for you in the coming days. But potentially you could do a CR that expands individual pieces of the appropriations process. Individual bills, Johnson said. I think we can reach consensus on that. The surprise proposal was latest wrinkle in delayed appropriations process for fiscal year that begins October 1. As some in divided GOP conference call for additional spending cuts. Some conservatives have been reluctant to provide funding at current levels, reflecting priorities of the Biden administration and previous Democrat-controlled Congress. I think we need to look at that, said Rep. Mike Garcia, R-Calif, one of the Caesars. I think we need to think outside the box and come up with as good ideas as possible. Rep. Andy Harris, RMD, touted the laddered approach. According to sources familiar with GOP conference discussions, the idea, which has not yet been fleshed out in detail at this point, would be to keep parts of government funded while keeping up pressure on the Senate to pass bills and open conference calls with House. After interim funding for first 3 expires, lawmakers will have another week to complete additional bills before the deadline for next 3 expires. And so on. Harris, top appropriator and House Freedom Caucus member with bipartisan credibility, believes such a plan could encourage conservatives who oppose CR to vote for it. Source familiar with Harris thinking said, whatever happens with ladder approach, Garcia said he wants to bind defense spending bill from a continuing resolution that deprives Pentagon of ability to start new programs or contracts. He said same should be true for the Department of Homeland Security and Department of Veterans Affairs. One of the dark aspects of CR is that we can't start new programs, Garcia said. So on the DoD side, we have critical technology development programs that are currently frozen in time because of CR. So anything we can do to solve those is let them get downrange. Then deal with other things. But top Democrats warned that a phased approach would complicate the funding process and could be difficult to implement. Well, Johnson's never served on Appropriations Committee, said Marcy Kaptur of Ohio. The ranki